Good afternoon, everyone. Nathan from All Properties Group on the Gold Coast. Apologies today. Yes, it's a lot later, this video, than what is normal, but I wanted to get through the day to really give you an idea because I noticed the shift last week, which I mentioned in the video, and I wanted to see if that continued before I came to you today. Just want to make sure if anyone jumps on, let me know. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Let's just double check that that's okay to go before I start talking about this information. So let me just double check that we're all on here. Thank you so much to everyone that's jumping on. I wanted to talk about the results from today, and that'll lead into what I'm seeing across the markets at the moment. If you're buying or if you're selling, this is a really good video to watch to give you an idea as to what's happening. And if you want to know what's going on in your specific area, or if you have any actual questions about what's going on, put them in the comments. More than happy to jump them on screen and answer them as best as I can. But to start, we started the day with an auction, number 7, Mebane Street, Gainsborough Greens in Pimpama. An amazing 30 square home right on the corner in Gainsborough Greens along Gainsborough Drive and Mebane Street. We ended up with 2 registered bidders at the auction today, and we did 45 minutes basically of back and forth negotiating between the owner and the 2 bidders, back and forth, starting at 600,000 before it was passed in, unfortunately, below the reserve price. But we are in some in-depth conversations as we speak with multiple different buyers regarding what their levels are for conditional interest. So I don't predict that that's going to be on the market too much longer before we're sold. There really isn't much out there that's of good value. It's as good value as what that is at the price point that the owners are chasing. Then we went to 431 Gainsborough Drive in Pimpama as well. Fantastic single-level plantation home with a pool. We had 8 groups through. That's the first week of our 3-week auction campaign. We had 12 inspections this week, and I'm working with a couple buyers at the moment. We've had 2 offers already. I predict that we'll probably have more this weekend. Whether it's enough to stop the auction will be the big question. Off to there, we went to 12 of 24 Beatty Road Townhouse in Cooma, first week of the auction. It's been a tough one to start. We've only had 2 inspections for the first week of this auction campaign. One very serious buyer I'll be talking to later today, potentially to put in an offer. Whether or not it can stop the auction, we shall see. But what we noticed last week, and I mentioned it, was that there was a drop in inquiries and a drop in inspections across the board in majority of the price points that I work in. And we've noticed that that is pretty well continued throughout the last week as well. And this weekend, I think, was proof of that. I also watched the live auctions on Tuesday, a lot of properties around the Northern Gold Coast. And we noticed the lower priced properties in that $600,000 to $700,000 range did end up selling, a lot of them below where the initial reserve was. But sellers are meeting the market now in a lot of these situations. Whereas the higher end properties sitting in that $1 million price point, we're struggling a little bit in regards to getting buyer activity and serious buyers over that $1 million mark. Now, there's a lot of finance out there still at the moment, and the interest rates going up last month by 25 basis points, I think was a bit of a shock to the system. I think people were really thinking, and the RBA was hyping up that they might slow down interest rate rises next week. In 2 weeks' time, I guess we're going to really find out the picture and what their plan is for the rest of the year. But I think there's been a little bit of hesitancy we've noticed in buyers as of late. They're not making decisions as quick. And a lot of them are in a position where they have to sell in order to buy, which we noticed. So when the interest rates first started going up, if you remember that live video back then, it was the first thing I spoke about, that we noticed straight away people that were buying that needed to sell with a prominent buyer. And we've noticed that again in these price points that are above that $750,000 range. A lot of these lower end homes are selling in order to buy, and that's changing everything at the moment. Hopefully, look, if you're jumping on a maintenance, not good, please let me know. We're having a glitch, unfortunately, in this area at the moment. So hopefully it's okay. But what I want to talk about, so if you are selling in this market, what does that mean for you? Now, the big thing, if you're selling and you're buying, you're selling and buying in the same market. And you'll hear this all the time, whether it's a booming market, a dropping market, or a stable market. No matter what, it's going to work in everyone's favor at some point down the line. If you're looking at property as a long-term investment, it really is an amazing time to be transacting in property right now. Sellers, yes, we're still more than likely in your area 30 to 40% up on values during before COVID. Yes, we might be 7 to 12% off the peak prices. Some areas are experiencing more drops than that, but you're still performing well. And the place that you're buying, if you're upgrading, has probably dropped more, or if you're downgrading, it's going to make everything a lot easier anyway. So always keep that in the back of your mind. I genuinely think that if you are buying property right now, because more than likely you're selling, there's a lot less competition and there's an opportunity there to negotiate to a price that's fair and reasonable between the two parties. Whereas before, during COVID, and all these buyers are starting to come back now. I met one today that's been in the market for 8 months and just constantly kept missing out. We're now in an opportunity where she can purchase and negotiate without a massive amount of competition, which was what was happening in COVID. So we're coming up to the end of the time where you'd be wanting to hit the market too. So spring is only 6 weeks away from finishing, which is crazy to say. But if you are looking to sell, you've got pretty well the next 3 weeks will be the best time to hit the market to make sure that your campaign is wrapped up, sold, before we don't know what's going to happen in December, but also before the banks start to wind down and before buyers start to go on holidays, ready for the Christmas break. If you're looking at selling next year, start the conversation now. Now is the time to start booking a summer auction to get ready in January and early February, but you want to be marketing ready, photos done, videos done, everything ready so that second week of January, when everything comes back, solicitors are back, buyers are all back, give everyone the time to get back to work, you're ready to launch and take advantage of what will be, in my opinion, a great market in January. There will be buyers holding off now, waiting to see what happens over this Christmas period before jumping back in January. So get prepared. And if you want to know what's going on in your area, as I said, every suburb is performing different. Pimpama is performing different to Coomera. Jake as well is performing very different to Hope Island. There's lots of things happening, and I know a lot that I can help you out with. If you want any stats or any information with your particular suburb, get in touch. My number is here. Look forward to talking to you. Have a good weekend, everyone. The weather is holding off. I have heard there's storms predicted for the rest of the day, so stay safe and have a good weekend anyway. Talk soon.